Here we go.
Hi, I'm John Noffsinger. Today I'm going to demonstrate a bit of pyrography on a turn top. I like to be creative with my wood turning, and I use pyrography to embellish my turnings. And I can do designs and different techniques to offset the wood turning itself. These are my primary tools I use when I turn a top. It's a pretty simple procedure and easy to do, but it develops technique and skill. Okay, this is a piece of soft maple. It's got a nice light color, so it'll take well for contrast on the pyrography with the black lines, and hopefully will come in a real nice little top. Use my detail gouge to start on the point that the top will rotate on. I do myself a little groove at the edge to get a wire burn in. This will be the first little space with pyrography. And use a medium gauge wire, about a 28 gauge or so. Get a nice dark line. Start on the top part of our top. We can cut that for you. Okay. sealing the top down just a small bit. I want a nice crisp line there at the edge. And I've used aniline dye and I use these Prismacolor pins. I'll use a Prismacolor pin right here on the edge to get a nice crisp line. Pour myself another small wire burn for definition on my bead. Another pyrography line. I'll use my smaller gouge, detail gouge, to work on this handle a little bit. Use a thinner wire in some instances to get some more detail. Makes a smaller mark. Try to put a little bead right on the end. Is that a cut?
Wouldn't be complete without a catch.
Yeah, well, we got to complete it. give myself a couple good lines before I take it off the lathe, because I'm going to do some pyrography on the top of my top.
So those are just going to be reference lines.
These are reference lines for the image that I'm going to do. I'm going to do a small knot on this piece. Okay, fellas, we've come out with a pretty good top here. I'm going to sand off the one end here where I parted it, just a hair. And I use aniline dye and Prismacolor pens. In this case, I may end up just with the Prismacolor pen. I'll blacken this little nib. Alright. And we just come around and steady as best we can with our fingers and just kind of twirl it. Between your fingers. Okay, that looks pretty good. And work on the form on the top. And you can do all kinds of things. Main thing is just be creative.
Yep. You're putting more reference lines?
This is for reference.
And you're going to do a knot?
Yep.
Like a Celtic knot?
Yep. Or just a weave type of a pattern. And do as best you can.
So you're just making arcs on the outside of the outermost reference line.
Yep. This will be half of the circle. Not quite a half as it goes around. Okay, and the same thing to the inside part. This will be the center part of our nose. And if you may get off a little bit, just kind of straighten up as you come around. Okay, this line will go to this line. This line will go to that line. Like such. These knots are harder to do than you might think. They look very simple, when you just look at them at a glance, they're actually pretty technical.
Because you have to make the illusion of over and under.
Once you start doing them, yeah, they seem to be more complicated. I go after them in the simplest way I can, and this is the way that I do it. I just do the outlines of them. That makes it easier for me to get the details to the insides. Go at it from like a geometric standpoint. Okay. And that's pretty good to start working from. And it does take a steady hand. I'm a bit nervous right now from coffee this morning, but we'll do the best we can here.
So what kind of tip you got there?
This is the LE spear tip, and it's on my coal wood burning handle. I like using coal wood tools. They're a relatively lighter burning tool. They have enough power to where you can get a good line, and I'm very much accustomed to the tool. They work very well for this application. And like I said, where I was a little bit off, I try to straighten up as I go. I finished the most inner lines on the style of knot. Now I move to the outer proportions. It helps sometimes to blow on your tip as you put it down. That way you don't get these hot spots. Because your tip actually picks up heat as you bring it up off the wood, and it loses the heat as it goes into the wood. So if you blow on it to cool the tip down, it keeps a more uniform line. And you just twist the flame tip as you pull it along the wood like a knife blade to get your turns.
And you can see that knot forming, the over and under.
So again, and you can get real complex, and the knots just have an appeal to it. It's pleasant on the eye. And you twist the pin, make your turn, twist it a little more, come around your outer turn, and stop it then. Okay, now let me do this off camera. Or I'll maybe do a couple on the camera, but this is the hard part here.
So you're not...
Oh, excuse me. And just finishing in the inner circles, twisting the pin in your fingers to get those tight curves, and then it comes to the coloring. Now this is the J tip of the coal wood set. It's a replaceable tip, fits into the handle, and it has like a semicircle. I use it for shading, and you can get real hard, heavy, dark burns, but it has the circle there consistent almost with what I put down here on the paper. So where my lines are off a little bit, or I put on the top, so where my lines are off a little bit, I can go in with this circle and just straighten them out. Like such. And I pretty much get the perfect edge of the tool as the There we go. That's got a good part of our nut done here. Okay, now I come and fill in with my black marker, or I could use paintbrush, and the Prismacolor is what I'm using at this time. Use paintbrush with aniline dye, make a real dark mixture, works just as well. And in a lot of cases the paint actually flows to the edge of the line.
Then you're gonna come back later with a fine tip and do the inner part?
Yeah.
Or the...
Yeah. Okay.
Finish up the last one with a fine pit. The inner part.
Now here's where I'll probably come in with a little aniline dye right underneath my bead so I don't touch the bead. And either way you get the color in with the Prismacolor pen or with a small paintbrush. Works just as well. Some applications the paintbrush works a little better because you can get a real fine paintbrush to get in the corners. And the color actually bleeds right to that corner. And I will show you that in just a second. Now to get right up here underneath my bead without touching the bead itself and coloring the bead, I use aniline dye with a paintbrush, and that'll bleed it right into that corner next to the bead without blackening the bead, hopefully, which is hard to do with a pen because the markers have such thick tips to them. In a lot of cases I think the paintbrush technique is simpler to do.
And that's black, so it's going to match the black of the marker.
Yep. And it goes in there real nicely.
Yeah.
And the line from the pyrography stops the bleeding of the color. And I can come around and touch up any areas where I might have missed a little bit. It looks a little bit awkward. Did pretty well on this. I think it's about ready to go.
And then you've got to come through an eraser and erase your pencil marks.
Exactly, and then you'll have that nice white background of the wood. Okay. And then just come back in and erase your pencil lines. Clean it up a little bit. Get as much as you can, try not to miss it. You gotta look closely sometimes because they seem to want to hide from you.
Okay.
And that's it.
That looks nice.
There we go.